Hey y'all, it's Civil Disorder. I am here with a licensed mental health counselor, Alli Glorioso, who's also a friend of mine and sister of one of my dearest friends in the world, Mr. J. Slott. I'm going to call his name out, whether he's here or not to defend him. He's one of my dearest. He's the one that's been sending me all those delicious goodies from New York that you all have seen me post about. So Alli and I were talking, and she, when I mentioned that I was going to start doing podcasts, she volunteered, crazily enough, to be one of my guests. And as it turned out, she's going to be the first guest. So I'm excited.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yes. Welcome, Alli.
Thank you.
Just a little bit. How are things down in Florida?
It is very hot and very humid, and the time of year when I hibernate and stay inside.
Yes, I hear you there. Gosh, I just realized I forgot my earrings. I'm feeling naked.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, but you got your lips on, so
I got my lips on. I got big green eyes to match my.
Yes, you're camo friendly.
I am. I wore this shirt actually for a reason, because I got it from, and I won't mention the man's name, but Jay had a partner years ago that I visited and spent time with. We went to Fire Island for a week together, and he gave me this shirt. So I thought, Alli might, or might. See, now you're the same people.
I know a lot of people get us confused.
I know. You're just so darn beautiful, both of you. It's sick.
Aww.
So
Genes.
I thought he might enjoy it. But the reason that Alli has joined us here today is to talk to us about acceptance of ourselves, so that we can lead our most authentic life. So with that, Alli, where do we begin?
Well, I don't know. I think, I've been working as a therapist for several years now, and so many of the same themes show up over and over and over again, that link us, in our human connectivity, as our common humanity of feeling bad about ourselves, talking bad about ourselves, thinking bad about ourselves, and then, finding ourselves being really unhappy and wondering why.
Right.
And I started to realize that, healing starts at home, right?
It does. This is what I discovered after I got out of the hospital after almost dying. I'd almost dropped dead to get there. But yeah, I was self-loathing. I hated everything about my life. I hated, even the people I loved, I hated being around. It just felt like being around them showed how ugly my life was, how ugly I was, and it was hard to even laugh and have a good time. I went to bed praying that I would die in my sleep, and woke up wishing I had died in my sleep. It was a miserable way to live for a long, long time.
Well, I'm sorry it took such a dramatic
and that's
the circumstances to wake you up.
I think the gods are up there, and when they realize you're just not getting it, they slap something on you and slap you in the head and kick you in the ass and tell you to get with it. Sort yourself out, for God's sake, and I have, I think. I'm excited.
Well, I think the steps that you've taken, the ways in which you do that, is a form of self-compassion. The word compassion and self-compassion gets a bad rap. People think it means that you're saying, oh, poor baby, or you're just being soothing and comforting, like sucking your thumb and being weak. But actually, self-compassion is incredibly fierce, just like what you just described.
It
right?
is
Finding ways to love yourself enough to motivate and protect and provide for yourself is incredible act of self-compassion. And through that allows us to be available to ourselves and then to others. And that is the way you get to that authentic life where you have real connection.
Yes. Why is it so hard for most of us to really express ourselves of who we are?
Yeah.
at any point in life. I mean, it took me until I was 54 to express that I am non-binary.
Yeah.
Up until then, I didn't have the guts to wear makeup or have my beautiful painted nails,
Hmm.
which actually now finally match an outfit. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm getting them changed this afternoon. So it's the last day for these babies. We'll have new nails tomorrow. Uh, but
Well, you asked, why is it so
yeah,
hard?
yeah.
It
Why is it so hard?
it's fear. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's how we're built, right? We're built to seek out problems, to want to be included, and the fear of being excluded, right? And so many we learn early on, loud and clear from our families, sometimes from our
Yeah.
peers, that we don't look or act or appear the way they expected or wanted us to. We internalize that, and
Yes.
it turns into fear. So before you know it, we go through the institutions, school and work and other things. We spend our lives treating ourselves like we're a problem that we're trying to solve, to make ourselves the person other people want us to be for their comfort. And
Exactly.
we get afraid to be who we really are inside. Like, we even stop listening because it's too painful to
Yes.
consider that we're not going to be loved and accepted. And it's so ironic because the love we need is like we're a self-contained machine for that, right?
Absolutely. And you can't be happy if you don't have that inner self-love.
Yeah.
And toward that end, I talked about on Facebook yesterday about a memory that came to my mind about my early days in DC. And Jay and I were still hanging out. That was fun. But this guy used to walk around. We didn't know what non-binary. We didn't have a term called non-binary back then. We were
Hmm.
just sissy queens. Um, and this particular man, he dressed as a man. He didn't wear makeup or anything like that. A little effeminate type man, but not
Hmm.
certainly not as beautiful as I am today.
How's that
Uh,
even possible?
it's not even possible, is it? But he had, long acrylic nails. Beautiful. I loved them, but I despised him with my whole self. When I would see him, I was so disgusted that
Hmm.
this man would wear not in drag. I was okay
Hmm.
for drag, but outside of drag, it just disgusted me that he was walking around like that. Meanwhile, I'm inside going, "Oh, I wish I could have beautiful nails. My God, I wish
Hmm.
like this." When I first got these done, I was just,
Yeah.
you know, and so it did take all of that, and
Hmm.
then since I've embraced who I am now. Before, whenever I was talking to on a dating site or meeting guys, I would always get, especially in the online stuff, I would get, "Are you masculine or feminine?" And my answer was always yes. I can change my own spark plugs and I can run in stiletto heels. What does that mean to you? But all of the guys would respond, if I was on my boy side, look more boyish, I would be told that I wasn't masculine enough for the guys who wanted masculine,
Hmm.
and I wasn't feminine enough for the guys who liked feminine. So since I've embraced more of my feminine, typically societally considered feminine side, I'm attracting lots of guys now. They're talking to me, beautiful men that I'm actually attracted to.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, listen, I want to challenge you on that.
Okay,
Because I'm
challenge.
wondering, are they more attracted to you because you're embracing the feminine, or are they more attracted to you because you're putting out your own authentic energy of just fabulousness? And who gives a shit
It
if
could
it's
be the
masculine or
combination.
feminine?
I don't know. It could be the combination of those two things.
Like, when
Uh,
you put out the energy of living your best life, uh, everyone's attracted to that.
I do find that to be true too. As I just walking through stores, people that, I could see they were just kind of like, and then they see me and they're like, you know, uh,
Yes.
I told about, I think the story on Facebook. A lot of you all aren't Facebook people. You're coming in through YouTube. But on my Facebook post, I talked about how the experience I had at the drugstore the other day when I was standing in line and I had about 6 people behind me, and the first person up front was an older gentleman, maybe 75 or 80, and he look at my nails, he'd look at me, and he'd look at my nails, not in a disgusted sort of way, but just a curious kind of, what is happening here? Who's this? What's happening? What's going on? Kind of Karen sort of way, right? Karen from Jack or from Will and Grace, not the Karens we've come to know. So when I turned around,
what's this? What's that? What's going on here?
Exactly. What's this? What's that? What's going on? Because I'm sure that's exactly how I looked to him. And I turned around at one point, and it was taking so long to sort out this malfunction with my prepayment that I just turned around and kind of leaned back on the counter, and I had my nails, my hands on the counter, and my nails were showing, my jewelry and all that stuff. And he looked and he goes, "Them sure are some pretty toenails and fingernails that you got there." I thanked him, of course. What a nice thing for somebody who's almost 80 and masculine to say to me, a cisgender man in his 80s. He said, "It's unusual." I said, "It is unusual. It's not something you see every day, but hopefully you will start seeing it every day." He said, "Well, I think they're pretty." So there you have it. That was nice. That was very nice. So all of the things that I feared, not like 4 weeks ago, I was calling one of my friends asking, "Do you think this nose piercing would be too much for my career right now? If I get my nose pierced, will I lose business?" He said, "You might in this rather conservative type Southern city, but do you?" And I was like, "Great." So
what if you actually got business?
Well, you know what? That's what I'm finding from this now is that I'm having people reach out and say, "Hey, we're thinking about buying or selling but now they embrace who I am. They're seeing that I'm completely honest. I'm completely open. There's nothing to, what you see is what you get. And if they embrace this and they feel this, then they're wanting to work with somebody who embraces that." So I think it's fabulous. I think it's going to be nothing but good for my business.
Well, I think that all of these are great examples of great acts of self-compassion. Authenticity is the opposite of shame, and your authenticity shines bright, and
Exactly.
shame needs darkness to grow.
It does. And I don't have any more
That's
darkness. So, if no more darkness in my life, I'm happier than I've ever been. And I mean, kids, ever in this life. If I was having sex with Idris Elba, I'm still happier than that would have made me a year ago. So, I'm not turning down Idris Elba by any means now.
So, we started talking about self-compassion, and I'm showing you're giving me great examples that I'm throwing back to you to show you, you came to this rather dramatically, as you explained,
in a short period of time.
But these practices are available to anyone, to just begin to notice how you talk to yourself.
Yes.
Do you talk to yourself with loving kindness like you would a friend?
No, I was saying, "Oh my God, I hate my life." Every time something I didn't like, hate my life. I wish I'd just die. I'm so tired of this.
Did you talk to other people the way you spoke to yourself?
No.
Of course not. So why do we reserve all that mean talk and critical judgment for ourselves?
Because I think for me, it just came from so many years of I always say my father's voice is in the back of my head always, and I can't get him out of my head at this point. But what I can do now is I'm strong enough to say, "You're fucking wrong, dude. You're fucking wrong, dude, about who I am, and what I can and cannot accomplish in this life. That's me.
And you don't have to talk to yourself in his voice any longer.
Exactly. I don't need your approval for anything. I am who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm never rolling back." So Take
Right.
what you got, babe. It's me.
So if you think about how meanly and critically that you allowed yourself to treat yourself, is it any wonder that, we do that and then we ask, why don't we like ourselves, or why don't we care about ourselves, or why do we have such a low self-worth? Well, if you imagine you've been talking shit to yourself for so many years, why would you like yourself? Because not only are you the one talking, you're the one listening.
It's the same thing with, being overweight or anything like. I think
Yes.
probably even with race issues. I mean, if you're
Yes.
because whatever you're born with or whatever you're dealing with is always there's always that negative, in the back that you're just something's wrong with
Yes,
you.
you
You're
know
a
what?
piece of
That's a
shit.
really excellent point, because that's what, from a clinical standpoint, that's what we're doing, is internalizing messages that come bombard us, that tell us that we're just wrong in
Right.
some way, and we believe it and we treat ourselves accordingly. And when you can begin to see that that hurts, and
Right.
that we need to reverse that with some loving kindness, and the ability to help us with our suffering, because we're hurting, not to make it go away, but
And then a lot of us, cope with that with alcohol or drugs. And
yeah.
that's why I think there's such a large population of drug addicts and alcoholics. And I admit I was, dulling my pain. The sad part is it doesn't dull your pain, it exemplifies your pain, but you don't feel that at the time. You just feel like I'm drunk. It's making me not care about anything. It's helping me to not care about anything, to
Yeah.
not focus on what a piece of shit my life is.
Yeah, but when you're a sensitive soul in the world, and you feel all the feels, it's pretty enticing to find a way to not feel the feels for a little while.
Exactly. Exactly.
It takes a lot of courage and compassion to really to feel all your feels, whether they're like, feel they're expanding feelings like joy, or contracting ones like shame or guilt or anger.
Right. Right. So if you were to tell somebody out there right now who's struggling with this, like I
Mhm,
was
mhm.
a year ago, what's the first step to getting it under control?
Well, I think that there's a lot of power in being mindful and paying attention, and really just noticing when we're being unkind to ourselves,
Yeah.
or noticing that critical voice, and maybe offering a moment of kindness like you would to a friend. A good place to start is to notice, the way I'm speaking to myself right now. Would I speak that way to a good friend, or even a stranger in the grocery store,
Or my
or
mother.
or anyone? And
Yeah.
if the answer is no, offer yourself a moment and say, you know what? Let me work on that. Let me work on how I speak to myself, what my voice is, and see if you start to notice that you feel a little lighter.
And it didn't take much. It was for me, even just if you want the pretty fingernails, you don't necessarily, if you're not, but you're not ready for them, go get the manicure. Even just having the
Yeah.
manicure was fabulous. If you do a clear coat of nail polish or something like that, that makes you feel like you're wearing, pretty nails. And they are pretty.
Yeah.
I used to try the clear nail polish years ago, but I would end up peeling that off immediately. And then, which I'm scolded for lately for pulling off that one gel
Yeah.
nail.
I know, but they don't last forever. Just like scary emotions, the nails, they don't.
That's a
They're
great
temporary.
analogy. I love that. The scariness only lasts 2 weeks if you just jump
That's
in, and
right.
that's been about it for me. It was about
And
2
then
weeks. So just
you
take
get
the
to
leap, baby, take it.
right, and then you get to renew. I mean, I think that, built into your message is really what I like to have out there is, um, ask yourself what you need. If you're having a strong feeling, if you're sad or you're angry, or just check in. And you'll see, I always put my hand on my heart when I do this. I say,
I love that.
what do you need? Check in
Yeah.
with yourself. And if you can, then find a way to offer it to yourself, then see what happens. See how things start to change. See how, even if the circumstances all around you are not any different, you've tapped into something inside that's going to allow you to feel better.
Yes. Whew, that's been awesome. I know you have to get back. I don't know how long we've been talking here, but I think it's been
Yeah.
very helpful, unless you have anything else you want to share before we cut off.
No, I think there's some great resources out in the world, that great teachers that I've tapped into if you're interested in learning more about how to incorporate more self-compassion in your life. Some experts, like some you may already be familiar with, like Brene Brown.
Oh, I love
Most
Bernie.
people like Brene Brown.
Yeah.
And a great person that I've learned a lot from is a woman named Kristen Neff, Neff.
I need to look
And
her up.
she's done a lot of research and written some great books. In fact, she has a new book out here. She's getting a free plug, called Fierce Self-Compassion.
Well, if it's a good plug to helping people, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I've learned a lot from her and I've benefited personally. It allows me to teach my clients and help them learn. And I'm starting to think about myself as the compassion coach. So,
I
you
love
know,
that.
that's
Everybody
something
needs
that,
that. I think we should
yeah.
have there was an episode of Designing Women years ago that the girls were dating that or had a date with this guy who made music boxes. And they didn't know that at the time, but they thought one of Suzanne, I think, Sugar Baker said she thought it would be awesome if there was just a music box when you opened it, that all you heard was applause.
Oh, that's great.
And I think that's awesome. That's what I would love, so maybe it's the little things in life that, pat yourself on the back,
Yeah.
congratulate yourself, even for little stuff. If it was something that you've been dreading to do and dreading to do forever, but it took you 5 minutes to actually do it, when you did it, that's stupid.
Mm.
You're wasting so much time in misery and procrastination trying to avoid something that takes like 2 or 3 minutes to do. I've done it. Because I hated everything about me. I made it so much more dramatic than it had to be,
Mm.
you know.
So then make sure next time you don't call yourself stupid, you just say good job when you finally do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
So
thank you for letting me be a part of your journey here.
thank you so much.
And,
Thank you so
you
much for
know,
being a part of my journey. I adore you. I always have. And as you know, I love Jay with all my heart.
me
Uh,
too.
yes, I know. And we're going to have a little vacation together soon, as he keeps telling me. He wants us all to get together and hang out.
Yeah, won't that be fun?
If we were all lived in the same place, it'd be even better, but we can do it.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Well, good luck with all of this.
Thank you so
And
much.
you're welcome.
Again, Alli Glorioso, licensed mental health counselor. She has her own private practice in
Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers, Florida. Thank you, Alli. So if you're in that area and you need counseling and you liked Alli here today, please give her a contact.
As a matter of fact, if you live in the state of Florida, we can do teletherapy.
That's excellent. So anywhere in the state of Florida, y'all, if you need counseling or you want to reach out for some of this good love that she's sharing, give her a call. Thanks, Alli. You have a great day, a great weekend. This is Friday.
Yes. Thanks. You do the same.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.